Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the HamCorp training manual. In this episode, we set up the first alloy blast smelter, start crafting a ton of HSSG coils, and craft the first IV energy hatches. We also plan a route to obtain Nether stars, but don't implement it just yet. Welcome back. This is the second test version of Theta, so I've actually had to update again since the last video. There are a few fixes. I haven't looked at the whole list, but one major one that I know of is I can open pattern providers again. So that's great. I don't know what else has changed between testing 1 and testing 2, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe some quests, maybe not. No idea. I still haven't done what I said I was going to do, so I'm gonna do that right now. I'll be right back. By extremely popular demand, I am putting a pig in the clean room. So I'm in the middle of encoding all of my patterns while my HSSG cooks, which by the way, I need so much HSSG. Oh my god. But anyway, I'm trying to encode everything, and look at this new button. Bookmark all missing stacks to your recipe manager. Ooh, this is gonna be good. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I do have to say, the mixing times for HSSG are really painful. So I'm crafting up another 3 large mixers. It's still probably not going to be enough, but I'm gonna turn this into a quad so I can do that. And I'm also gonna see if I can upgrade the energy hatches to IV. So if I can do that, and I run 4 mixers at IV, it's like having 16 of these mixers, and that'll make things way better. And it should be pretty doable, because the IV energy hatch needs, IV machine hull, tungsten cable, sodium, potassium, that's fine. H-pick chips, which I think I've made already. No, I haven't, but I can. Just a clean room cutting machine recipe at IV, that's totally fine. To make the H-pick wafers, it's MPICs, indium gallium phosphide. Well, shit. Actually, maybe not so bad. I think I can get indium because I have galena and sphalerite, and I've been saving it because I knew I would need indium eventually. So maybe this is something I can just pattern, actually. Phosphorus, gallium, indium. And indium is from indium oxide, which is from indium concentrate. Okay, it's a little bit of a line. It's fine though. But I don't know. I don't really feel like doing that until I have my ABSs and EBFs upgraded, because I want that done. Like now. So I think I'm just going to turn this into a quad and then use EV energy hatches for now. I think I'm also going to have to move it because there's not really space to make this a quad. So I guess I'll just move it to the end over here. Should be fine. Here's another new change I want to show off. So I'm using ME output hatches and buses here, right? But I don't want to have cable spaghetti going around the side. So here's something that's new. What I can do is I can shift right click the bus and the hatch, and that exposes all sides. And what that means is these blocks will now allow AE2 connections to go through them. So this one is online. It's connected through the output bus to the network. So that can make things pretty compact. I can even hide stuff like in the middle without having to actually access it because I can just expose all sides. That's pretty nice. So, trying to skip the RTM coils in my main EBF array is proving to be very difficult. I do want to make 16 ABSs, but I'm going to start with 1 and I'm just going to keep adding more along the way, because waiting for enough coils for all of them is going to take way too long. And once I have an ABS that's made with HSSG, making more HSSG should be a bit easier. So yeah. Alright, here is the first ABS and HSSG coils. Cool. As for where I'm going to put it, it is of course going to be similar to the EBF array. It's going to be an ABS array. And it's going to go right here. And I'm pretty much just going to use exactly the same design, so I don't think I'm going to time-lapse it. It's not very interesting to see a third time, probably. But it's going to go here, and you already know I'm placing these sideways. Because placing it sideways means I can access all the hatches over here easily, which is the most important thing to me. And also, I'll be able to see the coils from above, which is probably going to be the most common way for me to see them, from above. So, sideways it is. I'm now realizing as I place this ABS that parallelizing this is not quite as trivial as the EBF or the vac freezers, because there's multiple different item inputs in the same recipe, and there can be multiple fluid inputs in the same recipe, and I can't really think of a good way to round robin them. without the advanced stocking input hatches and buses, so I guess I'm just gonna have to roll with one ABS for now, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is, I guess. Luckily, I can double hatch these and multi-amp hatch these, so I could really juice this thing out. And I probably have to, because otherwise this is not going to be able to compete with 64 ABFs. Even though the recipes are technically faster, one ABS is not going to be faster than 64 ABFs, so yeah. Anyway, I guess I gotta make more HSSG. And it may also be time to start making some hardened industrial furnaces? Question mark? Not sure. Looks doable though. In fact, I'm kind of curious to see if I can parallelize these if I get the advanced stocking hatches. Oh, oops, they're not called advanced stocking here, they're just called stocking. The normal ones are just called input hatches. I'm used to GTNH. It's an IV recipe with IV components. The only problem is the IV sensor, because this needs a quantum star, which needs nether stars. And I haven't looked into how to get nether stars at all. Seems like this is kind of the way. I also know you can do it through mystical agriculture. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do the tech way, like this, the whole processing line. And if it's too slow, then I'll set up mystical ag. Finally, I haven't touched mystical ag this whole time, and I probably should. But I kind of do want to do that because the stocking inputs would definitely help parallelize this, and that would be super nice. And I could I could revamp the EBF setup when I upgrade it to HIFs, which would be good too, because like patterning these and copy pasting them to every interface has gotten very annoying. Before I look into nether stars properly and start setting things up, I am going to hook this up. This ABS is going to do some smelting. It's just going to be a simple like subnet with the items and fluids being routed and the program circuit card. Basically the same as what I have in the auto crafting area for like the LCR and stuff. I'm just going to do that here. Oh, this is going to be so much faster. 9 ingots worth in a bit under 2 minutes. That is really good. Too bad I only have one of these. That really could have made a huge difference. Well, actually, for the HSSG specifically, this is better because I have to cook it in my one single quad RTM alloy blast furnace. So the ABS is just better. It's just better. So I'm going to make my HSSG like this. And then once I have enough, I'm going to replace all of these EBFs in the array with the stinky nichrome coils into industrial furnaces with HSSG. That's still kind of a long wait, so this episode might take a while. But one thing I do want to mention is the molten HSSG. I need to freeze it to get HSSG ingots, and because it's a pretty quick recipe, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stock it in one of these quads, probably this one. Like I'll just put HSSG in this interface, and then it'll just be stored in here. I'll put an ingot mold somewhere so that this makes sense, and then the ingots will just automatically be solidified. I usually don't like to auto process materials like that, but for now this should be fine. It is pretty important that I get all my HSSG, so kind of a high priority right now. While everything blasts and cooks and smelts and whatever, I'm gonna work on nether stars. Clearly, I need an IV forming press to do this, and I refuse to make an IV forming press. I will instead make an IV energy hatch and upgrade my forming press multi-block. So that means quick detour into indium gallium phosphide. I'm going to automate the processing of galena and sphalerite into indium concentrate, indium oxide, and indium dust, and I will pattern this last step of indium into indium gallium phosphide. This means I need a mixer, a chem reactor, and probably an electrolyzer, or maybe 2. I could probably get away with 1. Oh, and a centrifuge. Or, you know, I could just void this stuff. Well, I don't know. And I'm just going to set that up over here next to titanium and tungsten. Indium is going to be right here. Alright, here is my indium setup, but there is a bug. So the LCR, right, this step, combining all these things in an LCR, makes the lead zinc solution and diluted sulfuric acid, which I decided to just void because I was like, whatever, I don't care. But putting the multi on voiding fluids mode and running the machine does not output items, and that is for sure a bug. So I'm gonna have to void the overflow here the old-fashioned way, which is making some output hatches and then putting them against trash cans. And now, yeah, it makes items. Cool. So I've just voided a bunch of indium and I don't know how much. Oh well. So, mixer to make indium concentrate, LCR to make indium oxide, and electrolyzer to make indium. There is technically a loop here with the aluminium dust, but I've kind of ignored it. I'm pulling aluminium dust from the subnet, from the ore processing subnet, and I'm emptying it back into the ore processing subnet. So it's still a loop, it's just kind of proxied off to another subnet. But yeah, this should be indium now. Or, well, I don't think it has anywhere to go, so it's just queued. I need to make some storage cells for the indium and the sulfur. Time for another detour to my detour. I've made the HPIC wafers, but to cut them, I need an IV cutter, right? What's the big deal, you say? Just put a second energy hatch on the cutting machine. Nope, only accepts one. Can't do it. So either I make a single block IV cutter, which I'm not going to do that, or I make the large cutting saw. This, it requires a single block cutter. Okay, so I could make a single block cutter, use it for my 1 or 2 energy hatches, and then I'm also going to make the large cutting saw while I'm at it. In fact, in IV, which is where we're at, infrastructure voltage, I can make a lot of multi-blocks. A whole ton of them have just been unlocked, and I want to do all of them, but I think the perfectly overclocking ones might actually be better in a lot of cases. So I'm going to pick and choose which ones I do right now. Obviously, one of the limitations is I need to be able to tier skip, so I'm going to eventually need everything, probably. But right this moment, I need the multi-block cutter. Let's see, so this needs the controller, of course, and slicing blades and shockproof cutting casings. This is Hastalloy C276, which is of course made in an ABS. This is actually not too bad. This is fine. EV recipe, MV freeze, yeah, totally chill. Slicing blades are kind of the same, except they need ultimate, which I think I've made already. Yeah, okay, so ultimate's not a problem. So I can do this. Yeah, I can definitely do this. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a large cutting saw before I can continue with... What was I even working on? Oh yeah, Nether stars. Well, you know, I could also make the large material press, which I think accepts more than 1 energy hatch, yeah. So I could kind of skip all of these steps for now, and then just set this thing up, and then I'll be able to do nether stars. God, I've like forgotten, why did I need nether stars again? Oh, right, I wanted to do auto-pulling stocking buses and hatches. My god, this is such a rabbit hole. Oh, and I've been waiting for HSSG, that's right. Still not there yet, about half done. My god. They don't call it infrastructure voltage for nothing. Okay, here, I'm gonna commit to the energy hatches. I am going to make the large cutting saw, and then I'm gonna start making some IV energy hatches, and I'm gonna upgrade everything. That also helps with speed, so that's nice. And I've already made it this far, so whatever. Let's see it through. I am very nearly there with the large cutting saw. The only problem is tungsten. Tungsten is starting to get gobbled up by absolutely everything I'm doing, and I don't make it fast enough. Not at all. In fact, why are these off? Oh my god, something's probably broken here. Wow, it's clogged on chromite. Okay, well, I have to do some overflow voiding stuff with this part of the ore generation area. But also, I've just remembered that the molten ore mixture, there's a new recipe that's been unlocked to me. This one. The stone dust, lava, and metal mixture dust. You remember this stuff? You get this from the distillation step, and it's a loop. 20 buckets of molten ore mixture gets you 2 metal mixture dust, and 2 metal mixture dust gets you 20 buckets of molten ore mixture. So I need to put that down. I'm gonna put that down over here, set out some space, and I've made a mixer, and I'm gonna have to refactor this area a little bit, I think. Well, maybe not. I don't know, probably not actually. But I will deal with things getting clogged, because that's kind of silly. But cool, I'm gonna set up that loop, and then tungsten should be generated a little bit faster. Wait, fuck, I need an IV energy hatch to do this. Shit! Okay, I'm just gonna make a single block cutter and make like 4 or 5 IV energy hatches, and that'll let me make the multi-block and do things correctly. I need the single block anyway to make the multi-block, so it's not me cheaping out, I promise. It's not gonna stay there for long. Shameful. Shameful. But it gets the job done. And this means IV energy hatch. Sick. This means I can do nether stars, but I am gonna actually beef up my infra so I can actually make more IV energy hatches. Like I said, I'm committed. You know, Now that I have an IV energy hatch, I could upgrade this cutter, and then I don't have to make the large cutting saw just yet. I'll have to do it for the next tier, of course, again. But at that point, I won't be so starved for tungsten steel, I hope. So maybe it's actually smarter for me to just upgrade this for now. I basically have everything I need for the large cutting saw, but now there's kind of no reason to make it. So I'm going to upgrade this, and then I'm going to upgrade all of these with IV energy hatches. Also, cutting is really slow, so I'm going to make a 16 amp energy hatch. Ooh, stopped in my tracks by polyphenylene sulfide, which I could do a whole line for, but honestly, I think I'm just going to pattern it. It's like a 2-step line, right? Or 3 steps, I guess. There's this one to make the actual polyphenylene sulfide. It needs sodium sulfide and dichlorobenzene. Dichlorobenzene is a 1-step benzene plus chlorine reaction, and sodium sulfide is a 1-step sodium plus sulfur reaction. And they're both really quick. This step is also pretty quick. It's quick in IV, let's say that. I'm just gonna pattern it. I wonder if there's a quest line for it though. Yes, there is. So I'm just gonna checkbox it off, but I'm not going to do it passively. Now, before I start on making nether stars, there are a couple of things to talk about. First of all, I need to make an implosion compressor. This is pretty chill. This is like an HV machine. It's really not a problem at all. Just mentioning it to be comprehensive. My first nether stars will be made like this, with the Blizz, Blitz, Blaze, and Basalt powder getting turned into charges, getting turned into infused shards, and finally combined into impure nether stars. This also means I need an IV autoclave, so I need to make more IV energy hatches. Once I have a nether star though, there's a nether star loop. In fact, there's, I think, 3 tiers of looping, and I can only do the first one, so I'm only going to talk about that for now. This is the diagram for the first tier of nether star looping. So I start with a nether star, I forge hammer it into 5 shards, then you polarize them and you get 5 energized shards. I've split them up into 1 each for showing this off. One of them is kind of a byproduct, and the other 4 get combined with liquid, blaze, basalt, blitz, and blizz to make the infused shards. But it's a probabilistic recipe, so you get about 0.95 shards per energized nether star shard. These get combined in a forming press. This gets you about 0.95 impure nether stars. And then you compress those to get 0.95 nether stars, which is lower than 1. But you get this 1 nether star shard extra, which means for every 4 of these that I do, I get enough extra shards to generate 1 more, or I guess 0.95 more nether stars. And what this means is basically I put in 4 nether stars and I will get, on average, 4.75 nether stars out. So it's like 18% improvement, which is alright, but I need to make quite a few nether stars to protect myself against bad RNG, so probably I'm going to set up the full line, the non-looped line, just to get a backlog of nether stars, and then I'll update the line to be using this. Or maybe I should leave that in place anyway, just in case I ever run out because of bad luck or something, and then I'll add on to it this whole looped section later on, when I feel like I need more nether stars than what I have. Which means, for now, I'm just going to do this left branch. But I am aware of the loop, and I do want to do it soonish. To start, I need Blizz powder, Blitz powder, Blaze powder, and Basalt powder. Blizz powder is cobalt dust and fluorine gas, IV chem reactor. Blitz powder is platinum dust and deuterium gas, which I'm not sure if I have, I'll have to look. Blaze powder is the easiest, carbon plus sulfur. And Basalt powder is rhodium and helium. And yes, I do have deuterium, so we're good. I'm going to set this up. It's going to be a full passive line. It's going to be right here. Well, somewhere here. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will have nether stars, granting us access to stocking input hatches and buses. This allows cleanup of many parts of the base, like ore processing, the EBF array, and the vacuum freezer array. We will also finally finish up on the HSSG coils and set up the hardened industrial furnaces in place of the EBFs. See you next time.